We'll look at the overall structure of our accounting codes and how this file can help you encode correctly in the accounting system. As you can see, the first tab shows the summary account structure, so that's the families and subfamilies. Class 6 are expenses, and the 60 are purchases of medical items such as drugs, vaccines or sterilization equipment. 61 are purchases of non-medical items, so water testing kits, laptops, fuel. 62 is purchase of land and facilities, and you'll very rarely use this in the field. 63 are any subcontracted services, so for example a construction contract, rather than when MSF would buy raw materials for us to do a construction ourselves. 64 is transport, for example freighting medical supplies or flights for staff. 65 are general and running costs, so that might be for car rental, utilities or communication costs. If you move further down, then 66 is staff costs, such as payroll. 67 are miscellaneous and other operating costs. 68 depreciation and provisions, you won't use that in the field at the moment. And 69 are contributions for cash and expenses paid to others, so if we give a grant to some other organisation to implement, for example. Class 7 are incomes. You very rarely receive income in the field, as most of it is received in headquarters at Geneva. Class 4 are advances, and Class 5 transfers, and both of these you'll see a lot in the field. The second tab is accounts. It's quite detailed, but don't be put off. I'll show you some tricks on how to use it. It's more like a dictionary than a novel to be read in one go. On the left, in the green part, you can see the detailed account codes. So 6,000 is for medicines. You can expand or contract the next few columns using the little 1 and 2 at the top left, or using the little plus sign. Quite a lot of our tools have these options, so it's worth knowing about them. In columns E to F you'll see the different destinations, so support, expat, national staff or operations. And in column I you'll see what the accounting system will propose as the default option for the destination. So although you might think medicines are always for operations, which is indeed the default, but we sometimes buy them for national or expat staff. You can look in the coding structure file for more information on the destination. So I'll hide it. Column K is a very useful column in the field. It details what can be put to each code and gives you tips on where to put expenses that are hard to classify. For example, you might have an invoice for beef for patients. The easiest way to find what code it is for is to use Control F and use the find. So if I type in food and find, you can see that in medicines it tells you that we should have no food charged to this account. The second is 60030, therapeutic food. And you can see that's things like Pumpinut or Unimix. And then the third one is 61020, and that's non-therapeutic food. And here you'll find that it's general food for beneficiaries. So we found our appropriate code for the beef for the beneficiaries. The last thing this file shows you is how to write a clear description of your entry into the accounting system, and that's in columns L and M. It should allow someone who doesn't physically have the invoice or voucher in front of them to understand what the entry was for, and to check the codes that you've assigned. It helps you later to do searches on your entries. It also facilitates the work of auditors, who look at a selection of our accounting entries at least once a year. When you write in the accounting system, you should use abbreviations and avoid useless words, so 2 brooms hospital instead of purchase of 2 brooms for the hospital. In general, description 1 identifies the type of expense, and the specific period concerned, or activity or location for which the purchase was made. It's a check, if you like, on the account code, the destination and the analytical axes. Description 2 should include the specific details of the transaction, such as the purchase order, the supplier name, the check number, the staff member's name. It allows us to trace the invoice back to the purchasing trail or to the bank reconciliation. So in our example, description 1, we were advised to put the quantity of the food we've purchased, so it's 50 kilograms of beef, say. We need to say what purpose it was for, so it was for the patients, and what activity. It was our hospital in Bunya. Description 2 gives us the purchase order number, the supplier name and the check number. I would advise you to have the chart of account file open when you're doing your accounting entries in the system, and to encourage your finance assistants to do the same. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video.